So you remember the phrase "the McConaissance," right? Where it's like Matthew McConaughey went away and now he's like, got the Oscar and things. I'm not saying Josh Hartnett is going to get the Oscar, but think about it. He kind of, did small things, did Penny Dreadful, small stuff, small stuff, small stuff. But then it was like, oh, Oppenheimer. Oh, M. Night Shyamalan Trap. And yes, even though Fight or Flight might not be like, oh yeah, a big budget movie, but my God, he was having fun. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing Fight or Flight. What's about? Pretty simple premise. Josh Hartnett, he's not in the best of, status in Bangkok, but he gets a call from his ex, and she's like, I need you to get on a plane to San Francisco, and if you do this mission, you'll get a passport, you'll get your slate wiped clean. However, on the plane, it's not just the person he's supposed to protect, it's himself that is being hunted. And we're going to get some shenanigans. Think of like ridiculousness of like snakes on a plane, but this is like Josh Hartnett on a plane with hitmen, blood, guts, galore. So I like this movie. It's a fun freaking film. I understand like this type of movie started getting like serious. Started serious, right? With like the John Wicks and like the Nobodies, but then the Nobodies started going like the comedy route. Now we have like, this, we have Love Hurts, and we have like, you could call it The Fall Guy, you could call it things like that, where it's like stuntmen, badass action and craziness, and this belongs in that category of just having some freaking fun with some bloody violence. Decent story about, how, maybe these phones and everything that are made in China, we shouldn't be going to China or other like markets where it's like slave labor. And I'm all about that. You might be wondering, Chase, what are you doing about it? Everything I buy is made in America from like, a couple months ago. You could go to, Walmart and get a made in China lunchbox, or you could go online and get a lunchbox made in Minnesota. I think it's called Fox River. It's a very cool lunch pail. Yes, it might be like times 500% more. Instead of going like $10 from China, $50, but at least at $50, I know it's made sustainably, eco-friendly, and just like supporting something I support. I'm willing to spend money on I support. And people are saying, oh yeah, well, you know what? Most of these discs are made in America or UK. So there we go. Anyway, rant over about that, about, but because about the story is about that, but you're not kind of there for the story, even though I do appreciate it having to try to do a story, but you're there for the violence and what it gets there, and the comedy and the ridiculousness. This movie knows not to take itself seriously, and it knows it. I think the director is his first time directing. He always was a second-hand director, where he kind of like the main director's like, oh, I need a second-hand director to do this stuff. So he kind of went in the main director seat to do this, and it's full-fledged fun. The editing is pretty damn good. I was never like, oh, what's happening here? What's happening here? And there were deaths that weren't like just ridiculous. It was more like, okay, this is taking some pressure to kill this guy. It is taking some ridiculous hits to hurt someone. Yes, you could say, and also I like how it's a plane, and you realize when you're on a plane how, your movement isn't the greatest, and you're going to hit your head a shit ton of times on, where you put your luggage in, and, the armrest and things like that. And they use that for its advantage of just having fun, of doing crazy stuff on a plane. Like I said, Josh Hartnett, I couldn't tell a single time a stuntman was being used for him. And that's either good editing or just Josh Hartnett doing his own stunts through in and throughout. And it feels like a lot of actors now, since the Tom Cruises and the Keanu Reeves, they're kind of like, I kind of want to do my own shit now. I know, like Florence Pugh jumping off the building and insurance purposes. I think at a point, right, if an actor like Florence Pugh wants to jump off a building, she should be able to sign a waiver and be like, liability gone. Like, if she wants to do it, just let her fucking do it. She lives once, and she loves heights. So, sorry, it's kind of the same way with this movie about, okay, it's not the most extreme type of violence, but you've seen the trailer where the chainsaw comes, and when the chainsaw comes, shit goes hard. Also with a pick, right? One of those things where you're like climbing a mountain. Shit goes hard because there is a pretty funny scene that actually deals with that. Yes, you might watch this movie and be like, I'm highbrow, and I need a the Oscar movies. I need the Oscar movies, and this is not an Oscar movie. It isn't. It's not meant to be an Oscar movie. It's meant to just have a freaking fun time in the movie. Which this weekend is a very interesting weekend when it comes to movies. You have this, you have Shadow Force, you have Julia and Romeo, and you have Clown in the Cornfield. A pretty weird weekend for May. And what's going to win, I have no freaking clue. But I would like this movie to at least come out on top for all 4 of those. So overall, Fight or Flight, it's a simple movie. It's action on a plane. If you could watch snakes on a plane, if you could watch these ridiculous movies on a plane, or these badass, action set piece movies that are in a closed containment environment, you can't go wrong with Fight or Flight. So Fight or Flight will receive a 4 out of 5 with Futons, which equals that 80%. So see the critics and user scores gave this one. So you have critics right now an 88% with only 16 of them. I expect it to go down. Nothing for the popcorn or critic or audience score. Of course, there's going to be no critic consensus. 88 to 80. Chase Hockey with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One of these Futontopia. You Blue Futonians. Thank you for watching. A great day. Watch this tape tomorrow week for a month and a year from now. Every single freaking one of you. Peace and love. Peace and love. And are you going to fight? Or are you going to flight? But if you're on a plane, you're probably doing both.